What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Hot Mike. Sorry, I don't know why I just looked at my calendar, but I did. I feel like I was supposed to be doing something, but I'm not. I'm supposed to be here. I want to talk about Trump. I want to talk about the future of this country, what we should be actively preparing ourselves for. We're going to talk about some infrastructure, which is really important because Biden has walked back his original statement for all you liberal voters out there who voted for him on the guise of he's going after big corporations. You got tricked once again. The black community got tricked first, so don't feel bad. It's all right. And we're going to talk about red flag laws, gun laws, and the Constitution. If you guys watched last weekend, I did a show with Ralph, Tim, and Ricky. That was an interesting show. Tim, and he knows who he is. I'm not going to shy away from talking about you. He identifies as a constitutionalist. And I told him that's dangerous when you're trying to compare state laws and state legislatives and city ordinances and all that stuff. You're trying to jumble it all into one and be like, you're going against my constitutional rights. Is dangerous. And we're going to go down the slippery slope. We're going to have fun today. A bunch of topics we're going to bounce around. But first, I have to show you this funny video that I came across. Now, some people are going to get mad at me, but I don't care because I want you to thrive in reality just like I do. And honey, Linda, if you believe this stuff, there's no way that you can be thriving in reality. I don't think so. Can you guys hear it?
August, maybe Trump will have it. Maybe end of August we'll have a sermon.
Hold on. Now, this is Steve Bannon. Everybody knows who he is, and that's Rudy Giuliani. Check out what they have to say.
When Trump's back in August, maybe Trump will have it. Maybe end of August we'll have a sermon at the White House. Oops, did I go there? Okay, Rudy.
That's what Rachel bad out today.
Run it again.
When Trump's back in August, maybe Trump will have it. Maybe end of August we'll have a sermon at the White House. Oops, did I go there?
Now, I'm going to let everybody comment on this, but for me, it makes me question Rudy, and it makes me question Steve. What are you a part of? Are you a part of waking America up to the BS that's happening? Or are you just on the opposite side of the spectrum trying to distract the American people from what they should be paying attention to? Because Trump's not coming back in August. You know who's coming in August? Kamala Harris. And the White House has put those feelers out because they've been grooming her since day one. Why do you think you don't see her in the press as often as you should? 1 + 1 = 2 here. I'm going to let Kaylee go first. What do you think?
Honestly, that was an extremely hard thing to watch. I hadn't seen that. And I'm like, listen, there are so many people that follow these people, and they take everything that they say like it's Bible. And for the two of them to come on together and be like, yeah, when Trump's back in office in August. Listen, I live with an attorney. Okay? He's like, the most that's going to happen is we're going to be able to fight what happened in the 2020 election moving forward. We're going to expose what happened. We're going to be able to fight it. It's already been, Joe Biden's already been elected. Whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, it just is what it is. He's already been elected. So stop.
Please.
They're just stirring the pot. Like, I don't understand. Why are you doing this to people? It's like giving them false hope when they wear a mask that they're going to be protected against the stupid B word. They're not. Why are you doing this?
Shots fired. Casey's back. I've missed Casey. This is my buddy.
Casey.
He's on all of the shows with me. I got to hear what you think about this.
This is just feeding the frenzy and this is why people are called, when you are a Trump supporter, you're called a cult. That's why people are looking at this and they're taking it as the Bible, as this is true, and not looking at the real facts. Now, could something happen? Potentially, sure. But it doesn't mean that we need to be holding on to everything and being like, oh, it doesn't matter what happens right now because Donald Trump's going to be president in August and everything will be reverted. No, because guess what? We have already trashed our country in 100 days. And you still have a couple months until he actually comes back. Guess how much more damage gets done?
Here's my other question. What happens when that doesn't happen? Just like all these other things that were predicted to happen by certain dates didn't happen. What happens when y'all get your hopes up that DJT is going to be back in office in August and then he's not? So then are we going to select a new date and be like, okay, it's going to be November 13th? Like at what point do you stop buying in and realizing that you're being fed a bunch of crap and start looking at reality?
So I think this is an interesting, I think Suni touched on it. This is a huge audience that follows these guys, right?
Mhm.
And one of the brilliance of Trump's career has been some of his marketing ploys. And so I'm not sitting here saying that there's not a ridiculous conversation happening here. I'm saying, but it's to garner attention potentially. He just pulled off of a blog that he was going to have, that was going to be up for a long time. He's made some headway, it sounds like, with his social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram. And it would not surprise me if a lot of this noise is August being a date at which he actually re-enters the social conversation as a talking head. And so it's ridiculous, I think, for people to conflate maybe a conspiracy with an actual thing that could happen. And that, I think, is, if I'm looking at this and being totally objective, I see brilliant marketing here. That's basically all I see. But it is unfortunate because it has very impactful consequences for a specific sector of the conservative group that are like-minded. So it's very difficult. Yeah, it's both things.
Another thing that I found interesting, because somebody asked about the audits, Supreme Court in the next few weeks is going to be voting on the Voters' Rights Act bill, right? And the direct reason they're doing it is because what's happening in Arizona. They're going to be voting on the fact that, let me pull it up because I got 1,000 other things in my head. I put this up after I said America, as society, has become very reactive because I see my timeline full of fucking Fauci. I promise you I'm tired of reading it. So tired of reading it. But I pulled from this article. It's actually on CNN and a few other websites. In the next few weeks, Supreme Court will weigh in on the scope of the Voting Rights Act. And what they're directly voting on is the state's history of quote unquote discrimination to obtain federal approval before making any changes to voting laws. And Supreme Court is going to be ruling on this for the scope of which this would fall under, Section 2 in the Voters' Rights Act.
That's explaining, that just takes away the power of the states.
Exactly.
I'll go back to the federal government. And guess what we're focused on? Like, I get what you're talking about, Fauci. We'll touch on that in a second. But because we touched backstage about it. But overall, like, this is what needs to be focused on, not Donald Trump and keep worshiping him and praying he's going to come back. Like, that is something you need to be engaged with your congressman on, like, and being like, hey, we need to be focused on this. What can we do? Because states still can do something now. But as soon as Supreme Court gets involved, it's much more difficult. Much more difficult.
Yeah.
Which is why you see sanctuary states for guns happening right now. Just, you're seeing stuff to try to rail back in control into the state's power so they can actually control it. Now, on the Fauci thing, just to touch on it, that information is valuable. It just needs to get into the hands of the people that want to do something with it, not just complain on Facebook. And so that is where that needs to be utilized. And if you want to do stuff like that, get it into the hands of attorneys, get it in the hands of people that really want to take action with it. That's what should be done, not memes and everything all on Facebook all the time. That's not going to change it.
I agree. I've
Yeah.
I'm
That's kind
not
of
even,
words
it's
on
not even frustrating. Like, it's not frustrating. It's not like, ugh. But the question is, I'm questioning this. I'm posing this question to the viewers, everybody. What should Americans really be preparing for? Because we've got a lot of distractions right now. I just read to you what the Supreme Court is going to be ruling on within the next few weeks. I don't even know how many people actually knew that, because your attention is so far gone from the election, because now you're like, oh, coronavirus. You don't think this is on purpose? All the big stuff happens when they throw something else for you to look at, and everybody's focused on Fauci. What do you guys think? What do you think they should be preparing for? Oops. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't know who was going first. So
It don't matter. Y'all could pick
Yeah,
between
go ahead.
y'all.
Go ahead.
At this point, okay, so I get a lot of flack. Like when I go live and I talk about daily news, people are like, why aren't you just talking about the audits? Or why aren't you just talking about, listen, there is a really big picture of things that are happening in our country right now. It's not just Dr. Fauci. It's not just audits. It's not just a border crisis. There's all kinds of stuff. But what you just mentioned that is huge. Okay. Yeah. For them to take that to the Supreme Court and say whether or not states have the ability to call shots for themselves, that is huge. That is a problem, because we all know how they're going to vote. Mm-hmm. They've been in there for 9,500 years. Like they always vote the same. It's predictable. Hello, term limits. Amen. Hey. Like you should not be a lifer in the Supreme Court. All right. That's just how I feel.
I'm going to pull it up so you guys can see it, because I don't think people believe me. I was like, so we're going to talk about Fauci, but completely ignore what the Supreme Court is doing in a few weeks here. Really? What do you think, Eric? What should Americans be preparing for?
Well, so I think a lot of this ends, there's still a commission that's being done right now to study the impacts of packing the court, essentially, right? And bringing more justices in. And some of these things that the court are taking up right now give a lot of ammo for that argument for the block of people who agree with with that situation of adding justices. I believe up to 13 at this point, right? So that for me is actually more of the issue than like a term limit or something like that, is running up what has been a classical number of justices. That if I'm looking at the Constitution and I'm reading it, term limits, I can agree with it on a fundamental level, and we want to change that from a law standpoint. We should work that through the Congress, through the Senate, and if that's what people ultimately decide that they should do, that should start with a local or an organic movement. But if packing the court is where they want to end, this to me is another case that they're taking up that kind of adds fuel to the fire right now.
Crazy. What about you, Casey?
No, it's not good. I'm all for the states to have their power, and packing the court is not going to be a good thing for anybody either.
No.
Now, do I think there's room for conversation of expanding it? Potentially. Sure. Let's talk about it. But going 4, I think, is a little too extreme. I could probably consider 2, but not going 4 overnight like that. But overall, to get back to the main point, there's a lot of things going on, and we need to be paying attention to as much as we can, not just some of the stuff that we're caught up in from the last year of being locked down.
I just want people to pay attention. I'm trying to find the CNN article, but I'll pull it up later. And I actually post a screenshot, because these are the things that they're voting on. And it's been going on since 2014, to be super precise on where they are with this entire thing. Go ahead. I heard you trying to talk, Eric.
No, I go ahead. I was just going to say that I think it's what to the more direct question you asked a little bit earlier of what should people be preparing for. You know, a little bit of turmoil, some hard times where it's going to be confusing what the actual law of the land is, because I think a lot of executive orders and things are confusing people as to what the constitutional foundation of what we can and can't do as people. So I just wanted to add to that a foundation of a question.
Facts. Let me pull up. Just be aware. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I am going to prepare you for what's coming in this country, and you should not put anything like. Don't think that Democrats aren't capable of getting what they want. We've seen that they're more than capable of making that happen, and they don't care what you or I think. But what you can do is get ready for this 22 election and put candidates in there that are going to listen to their constituents. Stop voting for people based on popularity. Stop doing that. It doesn't get you anywhere besides in a world of hurt and confused and not knowing what's going on, because you're reacting to COVID, Fauci. What else just happened lately? You got the gay pride stuff, Blues Clues with the gay pride parade and the drag queens on the TV shows. Come on, man. Let's focus. So while we're focused, let's talk about how ridiculous and how much of a liar Biden is. What was the percentages he was proposing for the infrastructure bill, for the major taxes they were going to be throwing on corporations? Does anybody remember the original rate he was pushing for?
Originally, it was 28.
28.
And then he backed to 27, and then eventually arrived at 25. And as I think we'll discover here in a second, is now back down to 21, which is what it currently is. So
he backed down further than that. It's not even 21.
Oh, did he? Okay.
So he's trying to have a bipartisan agreement with the GOP, and instead of sticking to his guns and the promises he made to his constituents, promises made but promises not kept, he is now putting in place a 15% minimum. They do this. At minimum, we'll do 15% corporate tax. So the global taxes they were talking about, that 21%, and then also the 28% proposed, where is it?
So that was part of the compromise, but go ahead. Sorry,
yeah,
Casey.
It's part of the compromise, but he still wants them to pay their fair share. So that's cool.
Oh, right.
Congrats, guys.
We're really going after the corporations.
Kaylee's silent.
Kaylee ain't got nothing. She's like, this dude, man. He is a flip-flopper. He reminds me of Ted Cruz.
He just lies, bro. Like, that's all he does. He just lies. And then he lies some more, and then he makes a couple promises, and then he lies and doesn't keep them. And I'm just like, how is anybody... how do you have any people that like you? Like, because you don't mean tweet? Oh my gosh, bring back the mean tweets, please, Lord. I would love it.
Bring it back. I don't know what else people want. And I don't know what it's going to take. He couldn't put it back. You know what? Let's just leave it at 21. You know, Trump had a good number. This was fair for everybody. I'm going to go beyond that and pander some more and say 15%.
He's a piece of grass in the wind. I mean,
look, the White House is like, what? They don't even want to comment. Oh.
The thing that this points out, guys, for everyone, can't trust a politician.
No.
Yeah.
You can't trust a politician. And because we don't have term limits in Congress, House and Senate, you can let these people sit in office forever and just be this way. They've been like this forever. And so This is not a surprise. It's just hilarious that people bought into it. And it's like, and somehow he got 81 million votes, which is cool, whatever. And so it's like, what in the world are we thinking? And no one's engaged from the left side and being like, wait, we want them to pay a fair share. Amazon's paying no taxes. Now we're giving them a 15% tax cut.
Yeah.
Can I share this real quick, Suni?
Yeah, go ahead. Share whatever you want. I'm scared. What is it? Oh, man. Good old Joe.
Biden laying down some concrete parameters for where he wants to see the corporate tax rate land. He was speaking in Louisiana about how he would pay for his jobs and infrastructure package. And he said that a corporate tax rate of 25 to 28% would raise hundreds of billions of dollars. Now, this is the strongest signal yet that we've seen, indicating that he'd be willing to go as low as 25%. That's where moderate Senate Democrat Joe Manchin has said that he would land and that he would accept. Now it seems President Biden would be willing to go as low as 25% himself. Again, that's what he said as he was speaking in Louisiana about ways to pay for his infrastructure package. Guys.
How many days ago was this? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry. 1 second. Let me look back and see when that was.
Probably like Tuesday.
That was yesterday.
Goodness, man. Well,
I think it's pretty wild. These guys are, like Casey said, if this shows nothing, it's incompetence at the highest level. They're shoving a bunch of gigantic trillions of dollars worth of legislation down our throat right now. And this was the idea to at least pay back for it, which, I mean, I guess, like it or not, we all can understand math. This adds to,
we can.
Occasionally I get, 1 plus 1,
doesn't equal 2.
But this is, this is a situation where it really, think about this, right? So if they're going to lower taxes even further. We're going to add trillions and trillions of dollars into the national debt at the same time. Well, this inflation idea that's been kind of kicking around a little bit, if it's just been on your mind, look at it now. It kind of changes course a little bit.
It's not been kicking around a little bit. It's making 2008 look like it's going to be minuscule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
That video was from May 6th, by the way. May 6th.
Bruh.
Oh, man. I was getting excited.
The one I just showed you was 4 hours ago.
Hey, bro, he had a
Deborah,
moment.
as long as it's not core math. Sorry.
I can't. No.
I can't compete with that. All right.
I can't.
I get that, Lynn. I get that people, not everybody is well versed in these areas, and I understand that.
Absolutely.
But don't get mad at me, because I had a few people say you sound like you're leaving the movement. You don't support Trump anymore, and I'm like, Trump is not God. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay?
He might be a political kingmaker, but he is not the reincarnation. He is not Christ returned.
No, man. And you have to stay grounded and rooted in this realm of reality, because hopeism, it has people off their rockers, man. You got people really saying that Trump's coming back in August. Where?
To Twitter.
He gonna be at the golf course. Y'all want to meet up with him? He'll be there.
He's gonna be throwing rallies and Twitter.
Yes.
That's
and
what's
that's
happening
him back
August.
in the White House, bro. That's him back in the White House.
I'm fine if he does rallies. It's just
rallies.
But no, you're not coming back here right now. You're not going to be back here anytime soon, in my mind. But
no,
we got to save our country. Not bank on one person.
Yeah, man. So we're bringing these things up because they're really important in this country. You should be very concerned about what's happening with the infrastructure bill, what money's going where. Those things you should be concerned with. I can't find the video, but when I find it, I'm gonna post it. We don't think Trump's coming back.
Well, she's asking why do people think that, and that's
Because-
a long story, Nikki.
Yeah, but I'm gonna sum it up real quick. Q.
Yeah.
That's why. And people are gonna get
Q
mad at me, but I
crew.
don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I need that shirt, man. I'm gonna wear
Somebody
that.
make that.
Look at Blake.
I can make
man.
it. I can
That's
make
great.
anything.
Let's do it.
That's
So
so
that
I
was
can't
one of
wait.
the best things from March 4th is him wearing that tinfoil hat.
great.
Yo, he pissed so many people off. They're like, you're so insensitive. Why are you making fun of Q? Because they deserve to be made fun of. I'm sorry. I would expect for people to make fun of me if I was spewing out things that couldn't be proved with any type of evidence. Every time you ask something, oh, watch this video. What does a video have to do with what you're saying? I just want to know
mean-
where you're getting this from. Here, where is that video? I'm gonna go ahead and dispel all the rumors. Do you remember when we did this show, Eric? And we were talking about the mainstream media talking about Trump said he's coming back, and he never did say that.
Yes.
Okay, here is the clip. I have it right here.
The media did that to him all the time. They would say stuff he never said, and then he'd get on and be like, I never freaking said that.
Drink bleach.
Am I allowed to say what I just put into the private chat? Am I allowed to say this?
Oh, let me see. I don't care. I don't believe
It's
in
like
that crap anyway.
Scientology. It's like Scientology. This is what they do. That's sorry.
Can't be proven. He look, this is where it started from.
No audio.
No audio.
No audio?
No
you
audio.
didn't share audio.
Damn checkbox, Sony.
Oh,
Come on, Sony.
I know. I'm sorry.
I
I do it all
leaned
the time.
in too. I was getting all excited.
It's like,
Come on.
Okay, here it is.
Waiting for sign language is what I was waiting for.
Reinstated, that he can simply be reinstated, that a new inauguration date is set. And Biden is told to move out of the White House, and
Even she can't take herself serious.
President Trump should be moved back in. I'm sure there's not going to be credit for time lost, unfortunately, because the Constitution itself sets the date for inauguration. But he should definitely get the remainder of his term and make the best of it. That's for sure.
At a Memorial Day weekend event, this is what they're talking about. Where in the Constitution does it say that? Kaylee used to do constitutional classes, and I know a shit ton of you took it. So where does it say that?
it
What
don't
has
say
to happen
that.
for that to even happen? Because there has to be a precursor.
For him to get back in office?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
I don't even know that there is.
It's not a private lawsuit that can be filed, so it would have to be a constitutional lawsuit,
Right.
which would have to be tried at the Supreme Court level, where they would have to find that the election was so fraudulent that it needs to be, and this is where again breaks down. It would have to be rerun. It wouldn't,
Right.
They
They
wouldn't. It
certified
wouldn't
the
be
election,
just.
so
Yeah, it wouldn't just replace. You don't just replace the person who you ran against. It's a rerun the race situation. In which case, then the whole 29th Amendment takes in, and essentially Nancy Pelosi would become president immediately.
oh,
So, like, I don't know of anybody who really wants that. I at least that's my understanding. I might be wrong. I don't.
They just want us to
Correct me
circle
if I'm
back.
out of pocket.
They just want us to circle back is all.
They really do.
bro, if Nancy Pelosi becomes president, I am moving.
Am I
Where?
wrong about that process? Is that not what would
No,
have to
No.
happen?
Seems right.
It's right. because nobody would be eligible because Kamala and Joe would
There's
not.
no
They wouldn't be
technical
right.
civil lawsuit to file. So this is not like oh, you defamed me and now I get to become president because you don't like me deal. This is a constitutional law.
See, look,
Right?
look, man.
Oh my gosh, stop it. Who are okay, listen. The Susans and Marks and whatever that you're listening to, stop it.
For
Do
this
they
to be
even know
true,
the
yeah.
Constitution? Like what?
For this to be true, there had to have been a declaration of martial law that none of us knew about.
Thank
and,
you.
And I haven't seen soldiers shooting people on the streets in this country. So that's not what we're dealing with right now.
I just need Jesus to take the whole car right now.
Take it.
Just take the whole stinking car. Forget the wheel. Take the whole car.
All four wheels, the whole chassis,
All of it. The whole thing.
And Stephanie, you are correct. But that is if people want to stand up and do it. I don't see that many people doing that.
Right. Right. This is America. Like this is America 2021. This is why I feel like a lot of people are not really in tune with the state of this country, because all you hear from is conservatives that think just like you. You watch Primetime Patriots, you watch me, you watch Cash, you watch Be the Change, you watch all these people that make you feel good, and I'm glad you watch us all. But there's more to the world than just Primetime Patriots, Be the Change, and all of us. There's a whole other demographic that doesn't subscribe to either party, and half of them could give two F's about the government. They're not even they are not even engaged. And then you have the other side that's extreme radicals. Like there's more than just us here.
Yep. It's so true.
Well,
Like there's literally people that live in the middle of Missouri, mind their own business, shoot their rabbits, eat them for dinner, don't have nothing to do with politics, nothing. They're completely, and I'm not hating on Missouri. I'm just saying I have friends that are like literally in Missouri. They don't buy into any of that.
there it is. Shay's comment, what I mentioned to you guys earlier.
Yeah, I just seen it. I didn't see it. And
No.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not watching it because I don't.
watched it.
Casey can give you the rundown on it because I
I'm
won't be.
not going to give a rundown on it. There's not enough
damn.
detail yet.
Okay.
There's stuff there, but no, it just was released today with just video. So there's hard facts, documents, stuff like that, or Supreme Court stuff. We'll talk about it then. Until then, it's just a video, just like what we watched with Susan Powell. Just a video.
Susan. See?
Well, guys, these are the important things that we need to be paying attention to. I'm not saying this to like put a damper in your day, but can we please like function in the same realm of reality? Like for me, for your kids, for your grandkids, like let's just stay here and fix what we can fix at our own length. We cannot fix anything at federal level. Okay. It's good to stay in tune with what's happening with the audits. Great, man. But you need to pay attention what is happening at your local level. I put up where's that thing at? This is an act that we all need to stand behind, and everybody needs to get on the phone and call their representatives. This is something that you can do. Honestly, everything else is second nature when it comes to kids, like for real. What's happening on the border is disgusting.
Blake literally wrote a letter. It's on Telegram. Copy, paste it, enter your representative's name, put your name at the bottom, send it. He did all the hard work for you.
And guys, this is in every single one of your lives, whether you think it or not. Somebody you know personally is likely being affected by it. It's like it's cancer in our society right now, and it's unnoticed seemingly. So I'll put it out that it's near and dear to me because of some issues that I've seen up close and personal. This has to stop, and the only way to stop it is to call it. And we have to get out there and save these kids, because once they're in it, it's like being on heroin. There is very long road back.
It's unfortunate. So please do what you can. Call your representatives and let them know about this act, and they need to stand behind it. This is where we kick in as American citizens. Work at your local level, please and thank you. Like, I'm begging you. If I don't ask you for anything, I'm not even asking you for money, bro. I'm asking you to invest in yourself and your communities. Go push this act. Go ahead, Kaylee.
I just want to say that Eric is so right. I've actually helped lead rallies and things like that for ending child trafficking. And it is literally a lifestyle that is so hard for children that have grown up in this to get out of as adults. It is awful. I've heard stories. It's terrible. It takes almost a lifetime to get yourself back to normal or even functioning. So it is extremely important that you guys do the bare minimum and at least write your representatives about the End Child Trafficking Now Act. That's what I'm going to say.
Eric, I can't pull those the USA Today's. It says I have to be subscribed to even open it. So
I can.
I'll let you figure that out.
Let's see if I can get.
This is what we're talking about next. Like I said earlier in the show, if you watch that episode I did this weekend with Tim, Ralph, Ricky, we were talking about culture, and then he kind of deviated the conversation. I'm not going to lie. And I've sent him an invite to come to the show because he challenged me to a debate, and I don't back down from it. I'm not the person to do that. So what I did, and me and other people, we got together to find if we could put together some statistics of how often no-knock warrants happen to the average American gun owner. And he kind of compiled red flag law in there with gun laws, and I was just like, okay, I don't get where you're going with this. But one thing he kept saying was 9 times out of 10, cops do not have a warrant for a no-knock warrant search. This is what he said, Kaylee. 9 times out of 10, it's unconstitutional. 9 times out of 10, cops are acting as Germany Nazi. Now, I challenged him on these views, and he really stayed strong to living in my opinion, my strong opinion, a state of delusion. And I'm going to send him this link again so you can stop dugging me, bro. Here's the statistics of it. Why'd you start quoting New Edition? I'm sorry, that just caught my eye. Here are the statistics of it. Of course, all this is brought on by this individual. I think people understand that. The only reason why we're talking about no-knock warrants is because of Breonna Taylor, not because of all the Americans that are unjustly treated. BS. Where are the numbers at? Okay. Each year, from 20,000 to 80,000 no-knock warrants are served across the nation. Okay. Further, in one of the few departments which is available, 92% of narcotics units, no-knock warrants requests were approved in 2016 to 2018. The only way they can get this approval is if they get it through a judge. They're trying to say that this violates the Fourth Amendment constitutional right. And I know, Eric, I think you put it in the chat. Let me see.
Yeah, I did. So if you pull up that link, essentially it summarizes the Fourth Amendment specifically as case law that's been written. And then as you go down through it, it has supporting decisions through Supreme Courts all over the country. And, one of the things that, I'm if it's okay if I jump kind of into the middle of the conversation, is that in the Fourth Amendment, you are protected from improper search and seizure, but there are some specific examples, and I want to quote these correctly so that I can make sure it's kind of understood. There are a couple of specific cases in which a no-knock warrant applies for basically one of two reasons. One, they're afraid that there's a potential loss of evidence, which would essentially be mainly, I think your best example is narcotics cases, right? So in essence, if somebody's got a house full of cocaine and the police are coming in and they knock and announce and they run over to a sink or to a toilet, they could easily dispose of the evidence that would ultimately be used in a court to prove their guilt, right? Now, the other one specifically is for the safety of the officers that are going into the situation. So if they think that, and this has to be proved to a judge. So this isn't something that like they can just decide, oh, well, we heard Johnny was a bad dude and he's on the streets and, he likes to beat people up. So we got to go in there, totally quiet. This is like people that they're fearful have weapons that are maybe expecting them, are on the run, are taking harbor in somebody's house that they're not supposed to be in, stuff like that. So it's not, just your average run of the mill citizen who's having a no-knock warrant. So, I want to make sure everybody understands the specific situations in which this can apply, because oftentimes we hear no-knock warrant in the media and it's a snapshot of, every time the police come to somebody's door, they're just busting in and not announcing themselves and boom, people are dying. Well, no, in order for them to have applied for and received a no-knock warrant, they have to go to a judge and make a good case of the reasons why. And there are only two that are specified: narcotics and destruction of evidence, and police officer safety.
Facts. And before I let you guys comment, because I want to hear from Kaylee and Casey as well. Moral of the story is this guy said 9 times out of 10. Okay. And he told me he was a scholar on this subject. I don't like when people get on here and lie to appease whatever constitutionalists, whatever you got going on, buddy. Don't get on here and lie, because right here from the Justice Research, it says, to date, there is not a comprehensive database that tracks the number of individuals that have been injured, harmed during a no-knock warrant. However, New York Times examined open police and court records requests from 2010 to 2016, and they found 81 civilian and 9 officer deaths during the execution of no-knock warrants. But the key ingredient they leave out? Were these criminals or were these law-abiding citizens? That destroys your entire argument, Tim. And you can keep ducking me. It's perfectly fine. But I'm going to come for that ass when you lie. And then you try to use the Constitution to push forth your crazy ideals. Like, no, we're not doing that. What do you think on this subject, Kaylee?
I actually want to hear what Casey has to say first.
Go ahead, Casey.
And then I will go.
Oh, geez. Fine. No, I love the Fourth Amendment. So I'm not going to do anything to put any of our amendments in jeopardy, but the Fourth Amendment is super important. And that makes sure, like, if your glove box is locked in your car and you get pulled out, they can't make you open it unless they have a warrant. Those type of things. The Fourth Amendment is there for your protection. Now, no-knock warrants, I have a bittersweet issue with. And the reason for it is a lot of the time you're going in there after some criminal usually. Or if you get the wrong house, and someone's trying to defend their house, you might end up resulting in someone dying, just fire. It's going to happen. And that's why I don't like it, but I do understand why it exists. And so I have this weird feeling about it. Like, I wish there was a better way, but I can't come up with a better way. So I don't want to change it. I want to leave it the way it is. I think it is very valuable. I do not believe police officers are coming in and just kicking in doors and doing all of this stuff and raiding people's houses and taking guns, because I've been sent videos about that on YouTube, and I'm like, I looked it up. I don't see any evidence of that in the city they're referencing. Like, I don't see anything. And so
go ahead, Katie,
false
sorry.
claims. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I'm not sure if I pulled this one from a .gov website specifically because I wanted to cite a specific source, although this same information was available on another source. And on some of the case law, in fact, it addressed, kind of to your point, specifically entering somebody who's not guilty or not a part of what would be considered a no-knock warrant situation. They basically get it wrong. And they actually specifically address that in case law, where they actually busted into somebody's house, and it was two people that were in bed naked, and it was they didn't match the ethnicity description or anything, and they still held them for 15 minutes or something. And there was actually a case law brought. And so, that's why I agree with Casey on this, is because the room for error is relatively small to the problems that it solves by having it available to us when necessary.
Agreed. Exactly.
I wish there was a better way, but fundamentally, until somebody comes up with one, I think it should stay intact exactly the way it is.
Well, I guess we could all just turn into Mission Impossible and go that route.
Sorry, Kaylee. I didn't mean to cut you off either. I just wanted to add that in there.
No, you're fine. I mean, my emotions are about as mixed as Casey's with this because, obviously we've not been presented with better options. Like he said, I completely understand why this is how they have to do it. Sometimes it's almost like it's blown out of proportion. Like people are thinking that this is what is always happening, and that's just not the case. It's not something that's just simple that they can just say, okay, this is what we're going to do. They have to, go through proper steps in order to get this approved. It's not something they just write down and say, all right, we're going to do a no-knock warrant on Casey tonight because that just sounds like a good idea. So I think it's definitely blown out of proportion. I'm not really sure why this guy that she was talking to was referencing the Constitution and it being against the Constitution. That part of it is like, what else are we supposed to do? We like Eric said, a lot of times it's used during drug busts, and if they know you're coming, they're getting rid of that stuff, whether they're throwing it on a van, flushing it down the toilet, and then you literally have no case whatsoever. It
is most frequently used as in a narcotics statistic, and remember, right, they separate it in the way that it's written, in that it has to be one or the other, but that doesn't mean it can't be simultaneous. And right. The drug culture often brings violence. So the safety of the officers is going to always be in question when going into a narcotics situation. So, just to pair all of that together, like that's why you see a lot of this aggression, I think, towards the drug laws. And there could be a conversation to be had about that specifically. But until we have that conversation, I think we need to fundamentally maintain what we have currently.
Now I have the video.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play. I want you guys to see this dude, because everything you guys said here, I said it to him. I said, so what if we're in a human trafficking case and cops don't have tangible evidence, but they have enough to get a warrant, circumstantial? There's trafficking going on here. This dude said, what about the pursuit of happiness? Swear to God. I swear.
Okay, can I just add one more thing before we play this? I just want to say that as the sister of a police officer, I know that before they make these types of decisions, it is a long process. They're watching, they're making sure that the activity is there. They've got witnesses, they have all this stuff. They may not have tangible evidence, but they're like, traffic comes through here. This is suspicious. It's not like they're like one day, oh, Yeah, let's just go do that. What about the pursuit of happiness? Are you kidding me? What about the children?
I swear, man. I hope he watches this because I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna challenge you on everything you said, dude, because you sound crazy as shit. She was here. I'm glad somebody was here that watched that episode. People were like, what are you talking about, buddy? And what does the Constitution have anything to like do with what you're talking about? And you guys can touch on red flag laws because he kept bringing that up. He kept bringing it up. Here he is.
Because it feels good or it makes
He's on the bottom right. Patriot Nation TV. This is Tim.
sense. I get all that. I get all that. Believe me, I could agree. I would agree with you.
So if that's the case, if we have evidence that someone's being trafficked out of a home, cops can't bust it in because of your views on Constitution. That's crazy as hell. Do you not hear how crazy that sounds?
So
let's let those women suffer because you're worried about your constitutional rights, bro.
Then why have a Constitution?
That's crazy as heck.
Then why have a Constitution and Bill of Rights?
That's crazy. No, I don't care about skin color, bro. I'm just simply American.
But why have a Constitution?
Why
have a Constitution and Bill of Rights? Why have it?
Come on, bro.
Why have it?
Come on.
Why have it?
Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I crazy here?
The courts.
Does anybody else understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying. The courts have already addressed some of these issues. The courts have said that the suspension of some of your rights temporarily during some of these traffic stops and police encounters are acceptable in the pursuit of an investigation. They have heard that. And for all of us to live together in a society, we have to yield our rights sometimes for everyone's safety. Now, that doesn't mean you lose your rights, but during the course of an investigation, they will suspend it, they will conduct their investigation, and then you will get your rights reinstated. Sometimes that's a matter of a few seconds to a few minutes. Sometimes it's during the course of a whole investigation and trial, if it goes that far.
But to piggyback what you said, that you're 100% correct. But this is the problem I have, because all these laws that we're talking about today are post 9/11. Post 9/11. You guys were probably just born at 9/11.
Oh, that's correct.
Or a couple. Well, you said you're 30, right? So you were 10. Okay, you guys were young kids at 9/11. So the post 9/11
math is hard.
The Bill of Rights is null and void. It really is. But it really is. Post 9/11.
Cops have been doing most of these operations pre 9/11.
Not really.
They've been issuing warrants.
And now going back to what you said about the judges in the courts. Okay, this is the problem I have. This is the problem that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge or accept. Our judges in our courts, they're usurping powers that's not granted to them. What they're doing is they're legislating off the bench and making laws to fix.
Listen, it gets better.
The Constitution tells them, and they know they're breaking the law. That's my whole point.
Well,
a judge. That's why there's three different branches of government. A judge in a court cannot legislate off the bench and make laws.
So how would you have? So
how would you?
Thank you. What is your solution?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell us all the solution. How do we stop criminals, but give them their constitutional rights?
I'm back to trapping, Tim. I'm back to trap. I'm in the house. I'm getting busy. I got a 24-hour trap spot. Things is coming in like water. How do you want the police to stop me? Without investing?
How do I want the police to stop it? It's really simple. This debate was finalized and argued 244 years ago.
We need a solution.
Solution. Get a bench warrant based on real evidence, whether it's a signed affidavit by a snitch. Get real proof. Go to the courts. Have the judge sign it. You just can't go on hearsay.
So what if they never get it?
I brought that up earlier.
If you never get it, then that's the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So we're gonna stop it there.
Can you pull up with that link real quick that I sent you again? Because
this
it's pretty clear right there.
Which one? There's a bunch in here.
The constitutional one. The
first one or the second link?
Yeah, the second link. The Fourth Amendment.
Okay. Yo, when I tell you I was beyond frustrated with his ignorance, I'm a scholar. Bitch, where? Where?
So, I mean, he was all over the place, but I think he was trying to argue that nobody has the right to do anything, to search you, to seize you, to do anything unless they have already basically an indictment. Would everybody agree that that's what they were hearing?
Yeah, I did.
I think that's what he's describing as a bench warrant. Yes.
Okay, so in here, I only have you pull it up because I was going to see if I thought it was right here on the first page, but it actually says in this article, and this is, like I said, a .gov website. You can share it out with the audience if you'd like, Suni, or I can put it in the comments here in just a second, guys. But it actually establishes that a warrant is the same as a bench warrant. That a search warrant is the same as a bench warrant. They are not looked at differently. They're effectively the same things.
This guy.
That makes my head hurt. And he's one of the problems I have with the internet today. Is everybody has a voice, and it can be complete ignorance, and people still listen to it and believe it. And the reason why I say this is I came from, as a lot of followers know, as I mentioned it, is I came from the Alex Jones world. I listen to Alex Jones religiously every day. And then I started understanding some stuff, and I'm like, you're stretching a bit, bud. And that's what reminds me of this, is these people are trying to do that same thing and get their platform, get all of this without actually understanding these details. And he's just spitting out words to try to confuse people. And he's trying to say, I'm a scholar. I know what I'm talking about.
Patriot Nation TV. You owe me my debate, bro. Don't challenge me to something and then back out of it. To show you how thorough I am, I've hit this dude up. Said, hey, we're doing a show today. Here's the link. I want to finish this debate. No response. He read it. No response. So you're showing me exactly who you are. And I'm going to let Kaylee comment on this because this is beyond me, man.
I really just want to see his paper that says he's a scholar from somewhere. Like, if you're a scholar, you have that bad boy framed. I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I'm about to find that part.
I want to know where you got your scholarliness from. Because you were all over the place in like 2 minutes. And you had like a lot of, like, I identify as a PhD.
Oh, man.
My mind, I was like, okay, forget taking the car, Jesus. Take all the cars. Take all the buses. Just take us all, really. I can't with people like that. I would just be quiet the whole time. I'd be like, you're okay.
Bro, it got real, man. It got real. When he started comparing police officers to Nazis, then I was like, I would have chin checked you so bad, bro. And if I was in your fucking face, I would have chin checked you because you sound stupid.
No, that's not okay. Mm-mm.
No.
You don't come up on any platform I'm involved with and say some shit like that.
Swear.
Nope.
I'm gonna play the clip. I don't lie.
No.
I don't lie. Ask anybody who knows me. I do not lie on this platform. I have no reason to lie, man. Listen to this.
She doesn't lie in real life either. Forget the platform. She doesn't lie. Trust me.
Let me clip this. I didn't share the audio. Shit.
Anyone surprised?
Okay, I'm gonna play this and then we're gonna wrap it up because Oh, you guys have to talk about red flag laws because he mentioned that here. And I want the audience to understand exactly what it is. Because during the show, I'm like, look, guys, I'm not well versed in these areas, but I know 1 + 1 = 2. And the Constitution and no-knock warrants don't even go together. No.
Use the word unconstitutional. Cool. I'm telling you from life experience, and I was in a trap house. They must have done a lucky guess because I've been in a trap house and they always come. But they must have done a lucky guess, man, every time. For me, Tim. They knocked that door down, bro. I was in actual kick in, boom, raid. Get down on the ground. Never been shot at neither. See, that's what the thing when I come with the police, they ain't shoot at me one time. You know why? Because I complied and this, that, and the third. So the investigation was done because they correctly came to the trap house. They didn't kick the neighbor's door in.
That's what the Nazis did. The Nazis did it. So I guess the Nazis weren't that bad after all, right? The Nazis weren't that bad.
The Nazis were looking for Jews, whereas the cops here are looking for drugs.
Negative. That they weren't just looking for Jews. They were looking for
these blacks.
Correct. So it wasn't just Jews. That's a narrative that the media and our fake historians perceive. Jews. They weren't going after just Jews alone. What we're seeing today is a modernized pre-1941 final solution Nazi Germany with our own Gestapo.
So let's just have lawlessness in our country.
It's not lawlessness. Just follow the laws. You just can't make up laws.
Lawlessness in our countries because cops can't investigate 2 and 3 years and find that something is going on there because they don't have. How do you know? It's hearsay because I fucking watched you. If I watched you go in and out of a trap house every day, you're either buying drugs there.
Physical evidence.
I don't need
physical evidence.
Listen,
dude. Tim, you need physical evidence.
Tim, you know, Tim, we know in a trap house. Come on, we from the street, bro. We know when a trap house is licking, man. We all know it's like. I don't know. Tony says she's from.
A trap house. A trap house is entrapment. So if it's a trap house,
you doing it.
He went further, bro. A trap house means entrapment. It's a government house, and all these people are talking to the government, and they're in the trap house. I said, shut the fuck up, bro. Shut up. You don't even know what a trap house means. It literally translates to crack house. That is a modern day slang term for trap house. And you're telling me that cops don't know what the hell a trap house looks like, and they don't have enough common sense to say, I need a warrant to get in here because these people are selling drugs. Why? There's crackheads out there. I've been to several trap houses. Dope fiends, crackhead fiends, heroin, meth, coke, whatever you want. Prostitutes, they're going to be at the trap house. I was so irritated after I did this show.
That's entrapment.
I can't make this up, man.
Listen. This is what my 4-year-old does all the time, okay? I'll tell him to do something. He'll be like, I don't care. That's pretty much this guy. I don't care. I don't care what you say. That's entrapment. Dude, what?
Oh, man.
Is this real life?
Yes. Yo, who knows about red flag laws, man? Please, can we let's just close this out and take this man to school so he can put this to rest. I want to completely shut you up so you don't ever get on anybody else's platform and say this reckless shit that you said on mine.
I didn't catch him saying that, but if there's an informant in there, he has evidence.
Which would allow them to have an indictment. So,
do you realize how stupid you sound by just saying that?
Oh man, he's a scholar.
Oh man, I don't even. Okay. So you want to talk about red flag laws, right? Because
I want to close the casket on this fool, man.
All right. So right. So red flag laws specifically right now are tailored towards the Second Amendment and guns, right? So I don't know where he was going, but I'll just kind of break down what it is. It is an unconstitutional law in the essence that it does go against the Second Amendment that shall not be infringed. There is a potential argument, I guess, that could be made for people that are going through psychiatric episodes and those kinds of things that maybe need to be disconnected from dangerous weapons that are in the mind that could hurt themselves or others. But that should be determined probably by a care provider. And right now what they're doing is they're expanding these red flag laws to include family members that are not included in your life, ex-girlfriends, ex-spouses, neighbors down the street. And so unfortunately, what I think it was intended to be for people who are dealing with psychiatric episodes, particularly ones that are dangerous to themselves or others, has now landed in a place where if you break up with the wrong girlfriend or you say the wrong thing to somebody, they could call the police and the police could show up and come into your house and disarm you for at least a period of, I believe it's like 7 to 10 days minimum, with up to 2 years before they have to hear your case and ultimately make a determination on your sanity. So it's pretty scary. And it's kind of the expansion that was necessary for them to start cracking down and proposing some of the legislation they're looking at with the Second Amendment right now. So I would very much perk my ears up every time I hear about this.
What did he say about it?
I didn't catch it, to be honest. It sounded like what he was saying is that any sort of thing that allows another person to give information that allows the police then to create a search warrant situation is out of the question, is my understanding. But I could be.
I'll try to find it while we're
yeah.
talking, because he kept talking about the Constitution. I'm like, I'm not doing this with you. You're gonna go down a dangerous slope. So while you guys are talking, I'll find it because he said that they're one and the same and they violate our constitutional rights.
I think that it's we're much closer in conversation to what the other gentleman was saying and talking about with polite society. There is a need for some of these things, but the over expansion, I think, is where the concern steps in for me.
Yeah, like red flag laws. The part that freaks me out is when you start saying someone that has a mental disorder, and then you are getting rid of patient government privacy for when they're going to the doctor. That can be used against us one day. And so I want protections in there when we're talking about that. I'm not saying people with mental disorders shouldn't own guns. I don't think they need to be evaluated and it should be protected in some way. But I don't know the best way to do that. Now, the other problem I have with red flag laws is you can make up things as you give the government an inch, they're going to take a mile. So they're going to do it once. They're going to keep expanding on it almost every year. And that's why red flag laws to me are just like a no until we actually have some decent people in office that I could trust. I don't like them. They just don't make sense.
Let me just kind of and let me clarify my answer here too is they are unconstitutional to the degree of which the law explains clearly right now. Do I think there's room for them, specifically when somebody's having an episode of danger to themselves or others? But that already exists in our law. You call 911 and saying somebody's having an emergency. The police are going to show up and they're going to secure a weapon on site, regardless of right. Current, proposed law. So I just want to make that clear. Also, they're not necessary to cover our Second Amendment protections nor our Fourth Amendment protections. It's not necessary. It's just to expand.
Agreed.
Okay, I found it. This is crazy.
I want to see what he meant by this.
This is when I went.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear his push.
Bear with me because I went smooth off. I ain't gonna lie.
Sonny,
can you hear it? Okay. I'm just really just factual based. If the person's unruly, it's unfortunate, but you get shot.
Exactly.
I think I don't like when people throw in the Constitution and policing. I think that's super dangerous because you're kind of putting yourself on a high horse there, and you're like, hey, this Constitution says you can't do this to me, but there are certain modifiers to situations. Like if they don't know what's in the car and you're acting weird, get the fuck out. and I'm about to search this because you could put not only them in danger, yourself in danger, the public in danger. And it's just dangerous, man. A lot of people that do that, I used to watch those videos all the time on YouTube years ago, where people are constantly using the Constitution and then just being assholes to cops, man. Like, yo, pull over, give your ID, and go about your day. It's just like BS on top of BS on top of BS on top of BS.
Well,
I understand where cops are, and I can say, yes, you have to have a temperament for the job, absolutely. But I can see why they get frustrated. Like, yo, I want to suplex you right now. Just do what I'm asking so we can both go home. But how often are you going to run into a cop that's really going to use his badge to give you a hard time?
I've run into that once or twice. I've run into the jackass cop once or twice. And the onus is still on you to keep yourself safe.
I thought this was
right?
it.
Like,
Absolutely.
Follow.
I don't want to miss it.
Like the First Amendment order.
Okay.
Follow the commands.
Well,
it doesn't get any harder than that. Like if you do everything that you're told, if you're already caught, you're caught, right?
Right.
If you're doing something wrong and you're trying to get away, you're compounding your issue. Chances are you're not going to get away.
Right.
But let's just say you do. Okay, fine. But you're making this. You're putting a cop in a position to make some very difficult decisions. You may not like the decisions that he makes.
Right.
See, I just want to say this. I look at it like this. The videos that Sunni's talking about, like the First Amendment audits and stuff like that, I agree with you. These people are buffoons, completely buffoons. My argument with the Constitution is this. When officers, first of all, I'm going to blame the police unions and the legislators. I don't blame the police. I blame the legislators who make arbitrary laws that are violations of the Constitution and put cops in harm's way by making them enforce tyrannical laws.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just me, one man, one opinion. What I mean by Constitution, like you said, first of all, anybody, doesn't matter if it's me, you, anybody, if you're speeding, if you're drunk, driving, smoking weed, you're committing a crime. So if you do get pulled over, put your hands on the wheel. Yes, sir. No, sir. Be respectful. The problem, when I'm talking about with the Constitution, just to articulate my argument, I'm talking about like red flag laws, no knock raids and stuff like that. See, I don't like to blame police officers themselves for. I mean, there was Nuremberg trials. The Nazis tried it and it didn't work for them. Just following orders and doing my job is not an excuse. And I'm not comparing our officers to that, but the way our legislators, our representatives, are creating laws and forcing and they're handcuffing our officers. They're legislating laws that are unconstitutional. A red flag law, because your neighbor says, "Oh, I see my neighbor bringing his hunting rifle out of his trunk of his car at 6 p.m. All of a sudden, you're going to come knock and kick my door down at 3 a.m. Somebody's going to get shot, whether it's the officer or whether it's the person that's sitting home that just went hunting. That's the problem I have when I mean unconstitutional laws. Now, these First Amendment audits, to piggyback what you said, Sunni, you're 100% right. These people are idiots, complete idiots. How
often does that actually happen, though, to where cops are just knocking down your door because your neighbor said you have this gun?
It happens every day. They don't report it. It happens every day. I'm in New York State.
I don't disagree with no knock warrants. I like I said, there is a catch-22. You need to be able to catch a criminal in the act.
But we're America. There's no such thing as pre-crime in America. You can't.
There is though, because there's active crime happening. I've gone to the hood. There's active crimes happening there. Okay, and if cops need to knock down the door to get in there, they should have. Why should they be able to do that?
Because you have to. Because
this is why I said.
Unfortunately, America. No, unfortunately, we live in America. We don't live in China. We don't live in Russia. We live in America.
No, the Constitution is to govern us as a whole and the government. No, it's a check and balance.
Negative.
Negative. You can't overtalk me. You can't. That's impossible to have a conversation.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Constitution governs us, and it's supposed to govern the government too. That's why it's there, to tell our government how to handle things. But there are also things called state laws and legislation. And big government is not supposed to come down and dictate all that stuff. If a cop needs to get in and do a no-knock warrant on a criminal that they have been investigating, what is wrong with that? That's not infringing upon your rights. You're a fucking criminal. You ain't got no rights no more. Your rights are gone.
But who says that?
I do. Every American who has to deal with the criminal. You don't have any rights.
But the Constitution
no more.
doesn't say that. The Constitution doesn't say that.
I'm saying that.
Right, but the Constitution.
This is what he said. Just to give you context, red flag laws, Constitution. This is what he said, man. Do you see everybody's face on the screen?
This guy is something else. I personally, I'm not pro red flag laws. I think the Constitution is very clear that we have a right to bear arms. I understand that here's the deal. I don't trust the reasoning behind the red flag laws because I don't trust the people who are putting them into place. Okay.
Right.
If we were talking about good, trustworthy, wonderful people that, cared about American citizens and they want to stop mass shootings and all this stuff, that would be a different story. But at this point, I just feel like they're just trying to take our rights and they want it to be as easy as possible. So for me, red flag laws are just a big fat no, because I don't want anybody walking into my house taking my guns. It's my right to bear arms, and nobody can take that from me. This dude is nuts. Okay, that's it. Mic drop, done. He's crazy. If he came on here, I'd probably have to leave. All right, that's me.
Yeah, and I already said same stuff as I'm no go for red flag laws because I don't think they'll be utilized properly. You already see them trying to grasp AR-15s for unnecessary reasons. And that's a perfect example. And they call them assault weapons, assault rifles, when they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. And so that if you were to look at things like that, that's how I look at that, is they don't even know what they're talking about guns. So why would I trust them to put something in place that I do think there could be some mental disorder stuff put in place, but I can't trust them to do that right now. And how many of these shootings are actually happening due to mental disorders or other things? Like, you'd have to go and look at the numbers and figure it out.
And let's be honest, some people are doing shootings that weren't even able to purchase a gun, but they were able to get a gun. So there's a whole nother factor that's not thrown in. And so we're just targeting, the entire audience of people who owns guns, but you start taking away the good people's guns, and then the bad people, the criminals, they're still going to get guns. Y'all have done lost your mind. Okay.
Right.
They are.
Yeah. So I'm of similar mind that, so there's the states' rights for sure that we have to look at, and that at some level, like, that's constitutionally protected. So like, I live in California, right? Used to be the Republic of California, and we'll call it what it is today. But, I'll say this is that, we have some ridiculous gun laws here that there's nothing in logic or science that dictates that there's validity to them. They are based on feelings, not facts, right? And so when I look at it on a states' right issue, I live in the state. I have to abide by the state law, and yeah, it does. It is above the constitutional law, and there is protection there. However, in that same sentence, I'm going to revert to this, which is where this is where I say I'm a conservative and I am not a Republican, because this is a constitutional matter, and there should be no law above an amendment that says shall not be infringed. And so this is where ultimately the Supreme Court issue, and I'll just tie in everything kind of here for a second, We can talk about states' rights as an individual. We can talk about, the red flag laws and their unconstitutionality. But ultimately, what they're trying to do is change the body and the group of people that can protect that shall not be infringed sentence. And that's where the expansion of the court, and that's where I started with, what that scares me the most is that it trickles down and these red flag laws become an opportunity for them to march into every American's home to double check. And by the way, while we're there, we want to know who you know, what you talk about, what you see, what you think. And so we start to get into the Orwellian territory. And so, that's the big picture. And when I look at all three of these issues in tandem, we have a big problem on our hands.
100%.
Oh, Tim. Tim, you didn't take me up on my offer, but I had my good buddies here, and we all believe in the Constitution, and we all believe that red flag laws are unconstitutional, but no-knock warrants are not. Criminals, as far as I'm concerned, you don't have any more rights. You violated that when you decided to commit a crime against the United States of America. It says that in the Constitution, 13th Amendment, which is why you're considered a slave. So, I don't know where you are, bro. I hope you're watching, because I know you do tune into my shows, and I hope you respond and get your dignity back. Like, self-respect. Just admit that you were wrong. Stay in your lane, won't be no traffic, dog, because the Constitution ain't your lane, and you made that clear.
He's a scholar.
I'm trying to find where he said that shit, dude.
No, he said it on something you played. He said, "I'm a scholar." I'm like,
I feel like it's what he started with. He's like, I'm a constitutional scholar. And then he just ranted and cocaine.
Thank you for doing this show with me, guys. This was fun. We have to do this again. Hopefully Patriot Nation TV will come on here. And one more thing that he really did that was extremely disrespectful was he self-promoted on my show. When it was all said and done, and I was allowing everybody to say what their final thoughts were on the subject, he says, yes, Suni, I'm sorry. I'm going to promote myself a little bit. Then I was like, oh, I know what type of person you are. I've never gone on any show that I've been invited to and promoted anything unless they said, go ahead, tell people where they can find you. And that's the extent of it. But I don't think anybody's interested in listening to what you have to say, because you can't even get the constitutional right. You can't even get that right, bro. So just saying, I told you I would be coming for you. I told you, and you didn't believe me, and here I am. Oh, here comes Russo. What you got? Devil's advocate. You aren't a criminal in the U.S. until proven guilty. That's bullshit. It is what we are currently saying about the people in cash. That's bullshit too, because that doesn't apply to them. This is two different things that we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about clearly there is evidence that was taken into a judge, and it was signed off on for a no-knock warrant or someone's rights to be taken away and being handled by a police officer.
Which also applies to the discovery phase of any criminal trial, is how they obtain the warrant. So right. That would be my argument to saying that there needs to be a clarity. There has to be clarity in order for them to sign off on a no-knock warrant as a precursor. So can they get it wrong? For sure. Have they got it wrong? Probably too many times, but that is the standard, right? But look at any court that can be manipulated. I would say that.
You can't.
I think Russo just missed the first beginning part.
Yeah.
Where we got into this is all.
Don't conflate the two. I'm talking about people that are actively committing crimes. This has nothing to do with cash. If you're a drug dealer, you don't have constitutional rights anymore. Sorry.
Well, as soon as they find out, and they're coming after you.
Yeah, and look, cops know, man. Cops know. They are watching. They have cameras set up. They know who is in and out of there. A lot of times they don't want the small drug dealer. They want the plug. They know what they're watching, man. These are years of investigations that goes on. Me personally, that compassionate side of me for the specific topic, the topic that we're speaking on, which is no knock warrants for drug dealers, I don't have any compassion there because they sell poison to their communities. I don't care. If you want to do that, so be it, bro. However you get dealt with is how you get dealt with. Period, point blank. You don't got
Exactly.
no
So
constitutional
probable
rights.
cause. Yeah.
That was the term I was trying to think of, as probable cause.
Probable cause.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
existing.
It's exactly what we're talking about. And the bar has to be high for a no knock warrant. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of my point, is in saying that it's, I agree with it, is the bar has to be higher than just we think. There has to be like an active investigation or criminal, it's like if somebody's on the run, like that kind of stuff. So that's where you're going to see a predominant majority of those kinds of things.
Well, thank you guys for hanging with us. I'll be back Monday, either Monday or Sunday. I've got to go be a criminal and do my community service. Everybody got my story time. The military thought I was trafficking drugs, which I fucking wasn't. And they knew I wasn't, but these bastards still gave me 60 hours of community service. So you know what? I don't have any constitutional rights. Apparently, I couldn't even defend myself. Dude, the military is socialism, man. I'm telling you. I went in there. I'm like, I didn't know. I'm ordering A, B, C, D, F, G. He's like, did you know it was weed? No. You know what he said? Yes, you did. 60 hours of community service. Okay.
Because you're black.
It's because I'm black, man.
They got
Bye,
you.
guys.